5 ChatGPT prompts that you can use to really spice up your language exchanges. How often has this happened to you? You open up an app like Tandem or HelloTalk, you look for some language exchange partners, you start having some conversations, and before you even know it, the conversation's over before you even started.
And that's because you realize you enter this cycle of conversations where you talk about the same things every single time. However, we can learn to breathe life into our language exchanges just by giving the right prompts to our friendly AI chatbot, ChatGPT. Let's check out our 5 ChatGPT prompts for language learning.
All right, let's start with prompt number 1. The first thing that you can prompt ChatGPT with, and it's quite a simple prompt, is that you can ask ChatGPT for conversation topics. You can ask ChatGPT for some points of discussion that you can have with your language exchange partner. So as we can see in our example here, ChatGPT has given us 15 conversation topics, ranging from travel and vacation experiences all the way down to personal beliefs. And these might be a great starting point for you to start your conversation. Maybe it's enough for you and you have enough inspiration to spark a conversation with your language exchange partner. For me personally, I prefer a little bit more concrete questions, just so I don't have to worry about thinking about these questions when we're having our conversation, that we just go down the list together. Makes it less awkward that way. So I'm gonna ask ChatGPT about some more thought-provoking questions in one of these particular topics. Maybe let's look into dreams and goals for the future. Yeah, that sounds like a good one. So let's take a look at that one. We have now 15 thought-provoking questions that we can just look at the question and ask our partner. So maybe I can ask my partner the first question in English, and then my partner can ask me the second question in Spanish, and then we can also go on and skip questions that we don't like and work from there. And this is so much better than asking the simple questions such as, hey, what do you like to do for fun? Oh, I like to read and watch movies and sleep. Ah, me too. I also like to maybe go to the gym and work out. You have the same conversations every single day. So now this way, with these more thought-provoking questions, you can have more rich discussions and build your vocabulary and learn to express yourselves in different ways in your target language. And then that's when you can have some mistakes that you can learn from, and you can ask your partner to correct you. You can ask your partner to help you express yourself in a more natural way. Now that was just the first prompt that you can use to have a simple conversation with your exchange partner. You can read off the list, and then you can have a great, fulfilling exchange. But what if you want something else? Now this second prompt that you can use with ChatGPT to really spice up your language exchanges and help yourself learn a language is that you can prompt ChatGPT to give you ideas for role play. Now you can ask ChatGPT to give yourself an idea, a concept with 2 roles, and each role has some vocabulary words that they need to say. Now this idea is gold. I love doing this with all my exchange partners because you really get to have some fun exchanges there and really work on some vocabulary in your particular acting role. It's a really great opportunity for you to spark your creative outlet and try to express yourselves in different ways, because when you're acting, you're using different vocabulary. You might try to express yourself more formally, more informally, or use vocabulary that you normally wouldn't use. And this is really putting your target language to the test. So give it a try. We can look at some examples here with ChatGPT. Now here we can see that ChatGPT has given us a role play idea between an interviewee and an interviewer. And you can see that they have lined up some vocabulary words that we have to use either in English or in Spanish. And now this is your starting point. Now you can spend some time to think about a dialogue that you might want to say, and you can work with your partner and put yourselves in those positions and put the new vocabulary to use. And for me personally, I think this is such a fun, creative way to learn new vocabulary and practice speaking as you are learning your target language.
And if role-playing and acting is way too far outside of your comfort zone, then we can try to simplify it down.
Another simple prompt that you can use is that you can simply ask ChatGPT to give you some vocabulary words in a coherent topic. And then you can use this new vocabulary and just talk about it with your partner within the context of this new topic. So for example, we can ask ChatGPT to give us 5 vocabulary words, give your partner 5 vocabulary words, and make sure that they are all contained within the same topic so that we can have an easy conversation.
Now, as you can see in this example, ChatGPT has given me 5 Spanish vocabulary words. It has given my partner 5 English vocabulary words. And then even ChatGPT has given us some suggestions on what are some things we can talk about with respect to the vocabulary words that were given to us. For example, here you can see that ChatGPT suggests that we talk about planning an itinerary, visiting monuments. Maybe we can talk about different types of souvenirs we might bring back, the scenery we've seen. And here are some ideas that will allow us to talk about and use our vocabulary that we've just been given. Now, I would suggest this particular prompt over the other ChatGPT prompts if you are at a beginner, lower, intermediate level, because this is a much easier topic to talk about for beginners. And you have the suggestions on what are some things you could talk about, along with the vocabulary there alongside it.
Another prompt that you can use with ChatGPT is that you can simply ask for some grammar exercises. Maybe you are uncomfortable with a particular grammar tense, or maybe your partner wants to learn about something specific, like maybe the third conditional in English. Well, you can prompt ChatGPT to give you some exercises to help your partner improve on these particular weak spots that they may have. And so maybe grammar exercises are just too simple or too boring for you and your partner, then you can also ask ChatGPT for some concepts or talking points that you can use to practice the grammar weak point that you have. So for example, my weak point is the imperfect in Spanish. So I'm going to prompt ChatGPT to give me a talking point, but make sure that I can use the imperfect in these conversations.
As you can see here, ChatGPT has been kind enough to give me a conversation topic, some vocabulary words, and an example where I can use the imperfect tense. Now we can use this as a baseline for our conversation with our language exchange partner.
And so this is a great way to spark your creative juices, to really hone in on ideas and conversational topics that you can talk about with your partner, to focus and hone in on whatever grammar or structure that you're working on in your target language. Now, these are just some ideas to prompt ChatGPT to help you improve your language exchanges, but you can also use ChatGPT for language learning in general. And if you want some ideas and tips on how to do that, you can check out this video here that I made about how to learn a language with ChatGPT. Check it out, let me know what you think. And that's pretty much it for today. If you did learn something new or you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.